Just after Yefeng finished showing off, a song started playing in the small courtyard, when suddenly, several figures rushed in fiercely, like an 18-magnitude earthquake. Yefeng shouted, "What are you doing? If it were beauties rushing over, that would be fine, but a few rough old men? Please stop." The group of senior brothers and sisters seemed to be in heat, all revealing eager and thirsty expressions. Yefeng's hair stood on end. How could his small bed withstand such an impact? Chen Haoyu was the first to speak. "Little junior brother, I am your eldest senior brother. I am your second senior sister, Xia Tianyuan, third senior brother, Zhao Tianming, and me, your fourth senior brother, Xing Fei. I am your fifth senior sister, Du Tianyue." Yefeng was completely confused. Wasn't he the only direct disciple? How come after returning to the sect, he suddenly had 5 senior brothers and sisters? Now he was the youngest, but having a dual identity wasn't necessarily bad. He was both the master's direct disciple and a core disciple of the Star Sect. Yefeng asked the system, "Since it's our first meeting, as the youngest junior brother, shouldn't I give some gifts to my seniors? And since they are all geniuses and prodigies, ordinary things wouldn't impress them. How about 100,000 top-grade spirit stones each?" "Deal." The system's voice rang out. "Congratulations, host. The amount is within the squandering range." Yefeng was delighted. This was just a spur-of-the-moment idea, but the system actually approved it. Seeing Yefeng trembling with excitement, the senior sister smiled. "Even though our little junior brother is extraordinary, he's still stunned by our identities. So cute. From now on, second senior sister will take good care of him." Fifth senior sister was also moved to tears. "Finally, I have a little junior brother to bully." At this moment, Yefeng turned around and said, "Senior brothers and sisters, since you've come so suddenly, I didn't have time to prepare much. Please accept this small token of my appreciation." The 5 cultivators looked at the storage rings in their hands, all completely stunned. Chen Haoyu said, "Let me see. What's inside?" The next second, he was dumbfounded. It was 100,000 top-grade spirit stones. They never expected that upon their first meeting, before they could even give gifts, they would receive such a huge sum from their junior brother. In that instant, they remembered the sect leader's words. "He's rich, very rich, extremely rich." The system's voice rang out again. "Congratulations, host, for successfully squandering. You've earned 200 squandering points. You've obtained 100 enlightenment pills." Yefeng didn't expect to receive special rewards like this. The system explained, "Enlightenment pills have no grade. Any living being who consumes them will immediately enter a state of enlightenment, lasting for 20 minutes. Cannot be used to earn squandering points." It seemed these pills couldn't be so he could only ask his senior brothers and sisters to help. Chen Haoyu looked at the pills in his hand and asked, "Little junior brother, what are these?" Yefeng told them, "This is a great opportunity. These pills are called enlightenment pills." Just now, senior brothers and sisters all received enlightenment pills from Yefeng. Yefeng told them, "1 pill will open your mind, 2 will make you soar. After taking them, you'll immediately enter a state of enlightenment, lasting for 20 minutes. Senior brothers and sisters, hurry and try them." Seeing their junior brother so enthusiastically promoting the pills, Chen Haoyu said, "Our little junior brother wouldn't harm us." So he took the lead and swallowed one. Second senior sister didn't hesitate either. Even the usually reliable third senior brother gulped one down. The carefree Xing Fei didn't need any convincing. The innocent fifth senior sister even treated it like a snack. But the next moment, all 5 of them emitted a light of enlightenment, entering a state of cultivation and comprehension. Luo Wuming came over and asked, "What's going on with them?" Yefeng told him to keep his voice down. "Don't disturb the senior brothers and sisters." Luo Wuming was utterly confused. These prodigies are usually too lazy to cultivate, but today, it's like they've taken the wrong medicine. They've actually started cultivating on the spot. Yefeng said he gave them 5 enlightenment pills and told them to eat them and focus on cultivation. He warned the sect leader not to disturb them, as it would ruin their great opportunity. Luo Wuming smiled mysteriously and said, "Yefeng, you have such pills? Could you spare a few for me to try my luck?" Yefeng took out 5 pills and said, "This is all I can give. The rest are for my dog." This made Luo Wuming furious. "Am I not even as good as a dog? How could he use such divine-level pills to feed a dog? This is utterly inhumane and insane." Yefeng knew these pills were powerful, but using them wouldn't earn him squandering points. Besides, squandering is a spirit. If he squandered them on his dog, he might even get some special rewards. Seeing Yefeng's sly expression, Luo Wuming knew he was thinking about his dog again. He absolutely couldn't stand by and watch Yefeng feed such pills to a dog. So he spoke up, "Yefeng, the sect will take all the pills. After all, you're also a disciple of the sect. You know the situation of our sect, right? With your strength, you could take on 200 people alone. I'm sure you understand my dilemma." Yefeng said he understood, but he refused. If he couldn't feed his dog to its fill, it would be worse than eating dirt. Even the dog would cry hearing this. Yefeng told him not to spread rumors. Luo Wuming knew he couldn't do anything about Yefeng, so he stopped. He said, "The 5 grand elders want to meet you. It's probably about taking you as a disciple." After the meeting, Make your decision carefully. In the secluded cave of the Star Sect's back mountain, one person opened their eyes and said, "They're here." As soon as the words fell, 5 figures appeared, like gods descending. Luo Wuming and Yefeng knelt and said, "5 grand elders, this is the disciple my daughter has taken." Luo Tianqing asked, "Is this the one who fought 200 new disciples of the same generation the other day?" Zhang Haoyu added, "I heard he also possesses 4 spiritual roots and has mastered 3 earth-grade weapons." Chao Mingfeng also said, "And his control of the Buddhist flame lotus is nothing short of miraculous." Cheng Xinfei calmly said, crushing his peers, "Such a prodigy should be nurtured with all our resources." Chu Yunshan nodded. "Indeed, such a monster deserves great opportunities." In the blink of an eye, all 5 of them surrounded Yefeng. Yefeng was completely stunned. These were the so-called Grand Elders? They began inspecting Yefeng's condition. Indeed, he was at the peak of the qi refining stage, and the vast ocean of spiritual energy within him was terrifying. But the next second, Luo Tianqing suddenly froze. Others were equally shocked. Yefeng actually had no spiritual roots. This was completely unexpected for the 5 Grand Elders. Wasn't Yefeng a quadruple spiritual root holder? Why couldn't they detect any spiritual roots now? This was no less shocking than a nuclear explosion. In the world of cultivation, Chu Yunshan was so shocked that he exclaimed, "In 8,000 years of cultivation, this is the first time I've encountered something like this." Luo Tianqing asked, "Without spiritual roots, how does he sense the spiritual energy of heaven and earth?" The other elders were equally puzzled. Without spiritual roots, how did Yefeng open his spiritual sea? Did he use a knife to scrape his butt? Yefeng scratched his head and said he didn't know either. When he wanted spiritual energy, the surrounding spiritual energy would flock to him like loyal followers, frantically rushing into his body. He would instantly feel filled to the brim, although he didn't know why he was rootless. One thing was certain. The spiritual energy in his body could be converted into any other type of spiritual energy. This revelation made the 5 Grand Elders feel like they had just stumbled upon a massive secret. Cultivation can be done like this? What kind of phenomenon is this again? Yefeng now asks the system. Given the strength and status of these 5 big shots, as core disciples of the sect, giving a meeting gift of 1,000,000 top-grade spirit stones is reasonable, right? The system tells him, "Who do you think you're looking down on? Host, your mindset is smaller than Kuan-kun's. Be bold." Yefeng gets angry. Laugh at him? Fine, but mocking his younger brother? No way. The next moment, he shows his true spendthrift nature. 1,000,000 top-grade spirit stones per person. This time, the system gives him a thumbs up. This is how you should be wasteful. Was that stingy behavior earlier? This actually leaves Yefeng stunned. The amount is ridiculously high. These 5 are truly big shots. Their status is incredibly high. Yefeng then smiles. He takes out 5 storage rings. He says he came in a hurry, so he couldn't prepare proper gifts. Here's 5,000,000 top-grade spirit stones, as a token of his appreciation. He hopes the ancestors won't mind. The 5 cultivators are struck dumb. What the heck? Looking at the 1,000,000 per person in their hands, both cultivators and non-cultivators fall silent. Is it reasonable for a core disciple at the qi refinement peak to possess such wealth? At this moment, Luo Wuming walks over with a smile and asks, "Ancestors, have your cultivations been stuck at a bottleneck for over a decade? Here are 5 enlightenment pills. Ancestors, don't ask questions, just take them. These will instantly put you." The 5 cultivators are shocked once again. What kind of enlightenment pill has such effects? The higher your cultivation, the harder it is to achieve enlightenment. This makes Yefeng go crazy. But the construction team actually agreed to it. Luo Wuming pretends not to hear. Yefeng wouldn't sell him the enlightenment pills, and even planned to feed them to dogs. The next moment, the 5 cultivators enter enlightenment. The golden light they emit illuminates the area for 10 miles. Luo Wuming grabs Yefeng and leaves, telling him not to disturb the ancestors. 20 minutes later, the effects of the enlightenment pills wear off. The ancestors open their eyes. Luo Tianqing feels a bit unsatisfied. "I was almost there, but I'm still a bit short." Cheng Xinfei nods in agreement. It's like entering but not being filled. The others instantly understand. The analogy is quite fitting. Luo Tianqing speaks up. "Wuming, how many enlightenment pills do you and Yefeng have left?" Luo Wuming doesn't know how many Yefeng still has in stock. But one thing he does know, no matter how many enlightenment pills Yefeng has left, he plans to feed them to dogs. This leaves the 5 cultivators utterly shocked. Feeding top-grade enlightenment pills to dogs? Does that mean they're worse than dogs? Luo Tianqing steps forward and says, "The sect has rules. We can't force or steal. Yefeng, the enlightenment pills are yours. You can do whatever you want with them. But feeding them to dogs is a bit too much." Yefeng senses something unusual. It sounds like a reminder, but it's actually a warning. He still has 90 pills left. Feeding them all to dogs would be too much. Yefeng hesitates, then asks if he can keep 40 for himself. The 5 cultivators chuckle and say they can discuss it further. Then they scold Luo Wuming, who's just watching. As the sect leader, how can you let such a spendthrift run wild? Aren't you going to do something? Luo Wuming says, this isn't the first time he's been wasteful. He once used soul-returning grass to soak his feet and fed imperial jade fragments to dogs. The stuff is his own. If he's determined to be wasteful, what can I do? Luo Wuming can only exclaim, what the heck? He's at a loss for words. All he can say is, wow, traveling the world. Yefeng is utterly speechless at the sect leader right now. Why does he have to spill everything? Luo Tianqing approaches Yefeng again and says, Yefeng, let's discuss this. Enlightenment pills are extremely precious. Can you please not feed them to dogs? Hearing the ancestor actually using the word discuss, Yefeng feels like this isn't the cultivation world he knows. As a 10-year veteran novel reader, he's read countless stories where someone with treasures would be targeted, and some would even kill to steal them. After all, this is a world where strength reigns supreme. But the people he's met recently, that master of his, actually spent a fortune on pills to help him cultivate. An elder Bai is also kind and approachable, always smiling. Even the younger brother he defeated before became good friends with him after losing. And these 5 ancestors and elders, they're all reasonable people. Yefeng thinks that staying in such a sect, there's no scheming or deceit. He decides that from now on, he'll just laze around in the sect, being a spendthrift. Then he smiles at the ancestors. This storage ring contains 70 enlightenment pills. I voluntarily offer them to contribute to the sect. The remaining 20, I'll keep for myself. Please don't try to persuade me. Since he's decided to stay in the sect, Yefeng feels it's necessary to improve the sect. Luo Tianqing isn't an unreasonable person either. He smiles and says, having is a great blessing for the sect. Then he turns to Luo Wuming. Yefeng has made a huge contribution to the sect. You know what to do, right? As long as Yefeng doesn't violate the ancestral rules, even you have no right to punish him. Understand? Luo Wuming nods, of course. This is our god of wealth. I even want to build a temple for him and enshrine him there. Just now, Luo Wuming told Yefeng, as long as you don't dig up the ancestral graves or harass female disciples, you can take as much as you want. Luo Wuming also supports this. A man like this can only be restrained by a wife and children, even if it means sacrificing hundreds of female disciples. Keeping this god of wealth is a sure profit. At this moment, Yefeng starts showing off unintentionally. A strange object falls out of his pocket. Chu Yunshan is shocked and exclaims, what the heck? Am I seeing this right? Yefeng picks it up with one hand, smiling. It's just a broken stone. As a spendthrift tycoon, it's embarrassing not to have something impressive on me. Luo Wuming immediately scolds him. You brat, you actually have golden silkworm star keys. Yefeng asks, Elder, you know about them? Did my master tell you? Chu Yunshan now looks at like he's his own son. He asks Yefeng, can you sell me the golden silkworm star keys? For an artifact refiner like me, this is more addictive than my neighbor's wife. Yefeng sternly refuses. No, I don't have many of these. If I give them away or sell them, I might not have enough to build a toilet. Luo Xingtian spits out 8,000 years worth of blood. All the cultivation experts fall silent. This guy must die. First, he feeds pills to dogs, and now he wants to use golden silkworm star keys to build a toilet? Clearly, Chu Yunshan won't give up easily. He tells Yefeng to name his price boldly. He asks Yefeng, do you know how important golden silkworm star keys are to artifact refiners? Yefeng says he doesn't know and doesn't care. He's thinking of hoarding enough to build a toilet. When he takes it out, it'll definitely shock the cultivation world. Luo Wuming is almost driven mad. This kid actually wants to hoard them? This is an extremely rare spirit, or that can absorb lightning. Yefeng, are you planning to hide in a toilet during thunderstorms? Chu Yunshan is numb, hearing that Yefeng can still hoard more. Does that mean he can keep producing these? Seeing how much the ancestors want it, Yefeng finally says, after I build the toilet, the rest will go to the ancestors. Chu Yunshan finally nods in agreement. Then he says, using golden silkworm star keys to build a toilet. That's a great idea. The other 4 are left speechless. Luo Xingtian asks, Old Fifth, have you been infected too? Those are golden silkworm star keys. How can you encourage Yefeng to waste them? The 5 of them then start whispering, not even bothering to hide it from Yefeng, completely ignoring his wishes. Chu Yunshan says, are you all stupid? Once Yefeng builds the toilet, as ancestors, it's perfectly reasonable for us to borrow it, to withstand lightning tribulations, right? We can just squat in it to survive the tribulation. Isn't that amazing? Luo Wuming exclaims, what the heck? The older generation really is sharper. I'm still too naive. With such a tribulation-proof, golden toilet, who needs life-saving treasures? Yefeng is now regretting taking out the stone. He can feel that these old foxes are definitely scheming something. After some discussion, the 5 ancestors decide to gather all Qi refinement disciples in the sect to accompany Yefeng to ensure his safety. In other words, they're mobilizing the entire sect to protect this god of wealth. Luo Wuming immediately obeys. He also thinks it's necessary. Yefeng says, great ancestor, my strength is enough to protect myself. Luo Wuming tells Yefeng, the heavenly Dao battlefield is no joke. People really die there. It's better to follow the ancestors' arrangements. Luo Xingtian also looks at Yefeng with a no-nonsense expression. The next moment, Yefeng starts crying pitifully, saying, with so many people going together, I'll lose the meaning of training. Instead of going to the heavenly Tao battlefield, I might as well go back to the sect and sing, dance, and play basketball in overalls. Luo Xingtian feels a headache coming on. Another fan of his brother's true love. In that case, he can only reluctantly agree. He says, rest for 2 days. In 3 days, we'll head to the heavenly Tao battlefield's teleportation point. He thinks the ancestors' proposal is good. Strength in numbers is important, but if they encounter something they can't handle, more people will only mean more danger. And more importantly, he still doesn't know what the spendthrift bodyguard the system assigned him looks like. Soon, Yefeng returns to his residence. He opens the door to find his senior brothers and sisters waiting for him. They immediately ask, Junior brother, do you have any more enlightenment pills? The effects are amazing. One pill instantly put us in a state of enlightenment. Although it's shameless to say this, we still want to ask, can you give us a few more? Yefeng is startled and explains, I had 90 pills earlier, but I've already handed over 70 to the ancestors. Second senior sister immediately starts fawning, hinting that she'd like one of the remaining 20. Of course, I won't take it for free. I'll let you charge at me all night. Yefeng immediately refuses, saying he won't let his dog go hungry for a woman. What's going on with this sect? First, the ancestors compete with dogs, and now the disciples are competing too. When the 5 cultivation youths hear that Yefeng wants to feed enlightenment pills to dogs, they're all stunned. They recall their master's words. Your junior brother is wasteful, extremely wasteful. Second senior sister starts crying, saying she lives worse than a dog. But you can't force these things, even if it's such a great opportunity. Yefeng tells them why they can't force it. He's already handed over 70 pills to the sect. As core disciples of the sect, they'll definitely get a share of those 70 pills. As soon as Yefeng finishes speaking, figures in the room dart out at lightning speed, moving faster than they ever have in their cultivation lives, heading toward the great opportunity. Chanhao's figure slowly disappears, saying, Junior brother, if you ever need help in the future, just say the word. Yefeng looks at this flashy senior brother. Why did you have to break a hole in my roof, instead of using the door? Watching these people striving so hard for cultivation, Yefeng realizes that the life of a spendthrift tycoon is just this monotonous, carefree, and luxurious. By now, Yefeng has gradually adapted to the show-off system. He pulls out a rocking wine glass and asks the system why there was no reward for the 5 million. The system tells him that the 5 ancestors didn't truly accept the gift, as they plan to return the spirit stones to him. Thus, the action is still under evaluation and hasn't been completed yet. Yefeng curses. Are these 5 sick in the head, or is their brain rotting? They don't even want free money? Just as Yefeng is fuming, a figure appears at the door. It's ancestor Luo Xingtian. He says, Yefeng, there's something I want to discuss with you. Yefeng is startled. He just lost his temper and said some highly inappropriate things. He hopes the ancestor didn't hear him. Quickly, he asks, Great ancestor, did the spirit stones I gave earlier not suffice? I throw tons of that stuff away for my dog every day. Are you here to return them? Luo Xingtian takes out 5 storage rings and tells Yefeng, currently, the sect doesn't need your spirit stones. Yefeng immediately refuses, saying that once he gives something away, it's never been returned before. Although he doesn't know how much the sect's spirit stone reserves are, he's certain they're not even a fraction of his own. If the sect ever needs spirit stones, they can come to him anytime. Unlimited spirit stones, lifetime guarantee. A spendthrift disciple you can trust. Luo Xingtian is completely baffled by Yefeng. Since Yefeng wants to show off, he decides not to hold back. He asks Yefeng if he has any spirit crystals. Luo Xingtian believes Yefeng probably doesn't have, as those things are the main source of power for maintaining the sect's formations. The sect has been running low recently. He wants to test how much Yefeng has. If Yefeng really has some, it could solve the sect's urgent needs. The Starry Sky sect is one of the top sects in the Xintian continent, and naturally it has many enemies of the same level. Over the past few centuries, the sect has been obtaining fewer and fewer spirit crystals from the heavenly Tao battlefield, and it's no longer enough for the sect's consumption. Hearing this request, Yefeng smiles. System, the sect is family. I plan to give them 10 billion spirit crystals. Is that? The system tells him that's not just excessive, it's shameless. The sect wouldn't use that much in centuries. The maximum he can give is 100 million. Yefeng is furious. These people in the sect are my closest family and friends. We're sworn brothers. You have to increase the amount. The system tells him. There's a difference between dreams and delusions. Yefeng suddenly realizes that this darn system can actually haggle. It seems it's not a rigid system. Seeing the urgency of the sect's situation, Yefeng has no choice but to compromise. Deal. Luo Xingtian notices Yefeng's strange behavior. He knows spirit crystals are unique to the battlefield, So Yefeng probably doesn't have any. That's why he's making strange gestures to change the subject. He feels he should back off, or he might really drive the kid crazy. But Yefeng suddenly says, "Great ancestor, please wait. I only have 100 million top-grade spirit crystals. I hope you don't mind." Luo Xingtian's worldview is shattered on the spot. His senses are blown apart. Did he hear that right? A small fortune? Luo Xingtian thinks he must be hallucinating. What does 100 million spirit crystals even mean? The sect could burn through them day and night and still not run out. Suddenly, Yefeng speaks up. "Great ancestor, you heard correctly." This leaves Luo Xingtian utterly confused. Even if they sold the entire sect, they couldn't get that many spirit crystals. Yefeng casually pulls something out of his pants and tells the ancestor. Luo Xingtian senses a surge of spiritual energy. The next moment, he's shocked. He's instantly overwhelmed by an endless ocean of spirit crystals, spreading as far as the eye can see, limitless and boundless. No matter where you place this in the cultivation world, it's absolutely earth-shattering. Yefeng thinks, "You're a cultivation big shot, right? Well, I'll just flex a little. Congratulations, host. Successful wastefulness. Reward, 200 wastefulness points. Congratulations, host. Successful wastefulness. Reward, 300 wastefulness points. Reward, 9-star formation enhanced edition secret manual." Luo Xingtian excitedly asks, "Yefeng, are you really willing to let the sect use these top-grade spirit crystals?" Yefeng smirks. Indeed, even cultivation big shots can't resist the overwhelming power of wealth. No one can withstand the storm of money. Yefeng says he has more, and suggests the sect's grand formation be kept active 25 hours a day. If they run out of spirit crystals, just let him know. Luo Xingtian instinctively reacts, "Nonsense. Spirit crystals are only to be used in times of crisis. We can't waste them like this." Yefeng tells him, "Ancestor, your vision is too small. Open your mind. 100 million spirit crystals? That's pocket change. Anything less than 10 billion, I'd be embarrassed to offer. Feel free to splurge." Luo Xingtian is left speechless. "There's more?" Yefeng looks at the ancestor like he's a country bumpkin. He says, "Ancestor, you can doubt my character, but don't doubt my wealth. If you run out of spirit crystals, just come to me." Who wouldn't be moved by such words? Being force-fed like this feels amazing. Luo Xingtian immediately declares, "From today, the 9-star formation will be permanently active." Yefeng hears this and realizes the ancestor just said, the sect's grand formation is the 9-star formation. He pulls out a book and shows it to the ancestor. "Funny enough, I happen to have a little something here." When Luo Xingtian sees the contents, he trembles uncontrollably. This is indeed the 9-star formation, but it's an enhanced version. Although it consumes 10 times more spirit crystals, its power has increased 100-fold. Suddenly, Luo Xingtian turns around sharply, about to say something, but Yefeng stops him. "Don't ask. If you ask, I don't know." Luo Xingtian has no choice but to comply. Then, he mimics Yefeng, rummaging around in his pants. Yefeng is confused. Is he about to pull out something? But to his surprise, the ancestor beats him to it, pulling out a token. He appoints Yefeng as the youngest honorary elder of the Starry Sky sect. From now on, his status will be equal to the 5 great ancestors. Yefeng asks, "So, I'm now second only to one person?" Luo Xingtian tells him, "Even sect leader Luo Wuming will have to respectfully address you as Elder Yi." Yefeng quickly refuses, telling the ancestor not to joke. He just wants to live in the cultivation world as an unknown slacker. His only goal in life is to quietly waste his wealth. Otherwise, if he dies before spending it all, how tragic would that be? Besides, as a certain man once said, with great power comes great responsibility. He, Yifeng, has no desire to be the piggy hero of the cultivation world. If Xingtian told him it wasn't possible, the sect would feel guilty toward him. If Yifeng refused again, he would have to kowtow on the spot. Then it was explained that the identity of the honorary elder could be kept secret, known only to the sect leader and the 5 of them. Yifeng had no choice but to nod in agreement, but he made it clear he would only provide resources to the sect and would not interfere with anything else. This was met with Xingtian's approval. Just as the two secretly reached an agreement, the sect leader, Luo Wuming, entered the room. He asked Yifeng if he wanted to see the demon beasts imprisoned by the sect, but the next moment, he was startled. The Grand Elder was also here. Xingtian was furious, poking Luo Wuming's forehead and scolding him. "How dare you call him Yifeng? From now on, remember this. You will address him as Elder Yi. Starting today, Yifeng's status is equal to that of the Grand Elders. He has been recognized as an honorary elder. From now on, when you see Elder Yi, show proper respect." Luo Wuming nodded in confusion. Good heavens! After just 2 days in the sect, his status surpassed the sect leaders. Luo Wuming asked, "Can I know how Yifeng became an honorary elder?" Xingtian hesitated to answer. The sect has wronged Yifeng by only giving him an honorary title. It's too little. He has made contributions worth billions to the sect. Luo Wuming's face twitched. If even the Grand Elder said the contributions were too much, just how much was it? He then turned to Elder Yi and asked, "Can you give me a hint? This time, how much did you spend?" Yifeng said he wasn't that kind of person, and only spent a small amount of spirit crystals, and a revised version of the sect's foundational scripture. Luo Wuming instantly a small amount in normal terms, meant 100 million top-grade spirit crystals, and an improved 9-star cultivation technique. Being an honorary elder was indeed too little for him. Yifeng, fearing Luo Wuming's righteous indignation, quickly said, "Sect leader, didn't you just say you'd take me to the Demon Beast Peak to see the animals?" Half an hour later, the cultivation animals in the back mountains saw Xing Tian return. The others asked, "Boss, did you return all the spirit stones to Yifeng?" "It's good that you did. Taking money from a disciple is something we can't afford to be ashamed of." But Xing Tian sighed and shook his head. The other four were confused. What happened? Even with the boss personally handling it, they still failed to return the money? They said, "Big brother, you're being foolish. We really don't lack a few million." Then Xing Tian spoke up, "I'm sorry to disappoint you all, but this time, not only did we fail to return the money, we also received more benefits from Yifeng. I didn't want to accept it, but he offered too much. So much that no one could refuse." The 5 Grand Elders looked at the storage ring filled with spirit crystals, and fell silent. Chu Yunshan asked, "Big brother, just tell us directly, how much did that kid give this time?" Xing Tian sighed, "Not much, just 100 million top-grade spirit crystals." Zhang Xinfei nearly dropped the storage ring. It contained 100 million spirit crystals. This was too casual. Chu Yunshan was ecstatic. With this 100 million spirit crystals, the sect's foundational scripture can sustain us for the next 1,800 years. Chao Mingfeng urged them to put the storage ring down, as accidentally crushing it would be disastrous. Xing Tian announced to the group, "From now on, the sect's foundational scripture must be activated for 25 hours a day." Such a boastful statement left the other 4 stunned. Although friendship, it's not something that can be used endlessly. Chao Mingfeng shouted, "Big brother, have you gone mad? Is there an enemy planning to attack the Star Sect?" Xing Tian told everyone to broaden their horizons. Yifeng had said, 100 million is just a fraction of my wealth. If it runs out, just come to me for more. The 4 could only nod in agreement. Ever since Yifeng arrived, they always felt like beggars in front of him. But that wasn't all. Xing Tian had already started to imitate Yifeng's mannerisms, showing half of his shadow. He said, "Yifeng also gifted us an enhanced version of the 9-star scripture. Its consumption and power have increased by more than 10-fold. Now, even a peak tribulation transcension expert would be severely injured, if not killed." Shocking news left everyone stunned. Power increased 10-fold? Capable of injuring a peak tribulation transcension expert? This was simply inhuman. At the same time, at the bottom of the Demon Beast Peak, Yifeng and sect leader Luo Wuming had entered a cave. Luo Wuming explained to Yifeng, "Each cave here seals demon beasts of different strengths and numbers. The higher you go, the stronger the demon beasts become." Yifeng asked why the sect sealed the demon beasts, instead of killing them outright. Luo Wuming explained simply, "It's for the disciples to undergo life and death trials. To leave the sect, a disciple must have sufficient strength. Challenging and defeating the sealed demon beasts is a mandatory process for leaving the sect. If they can't even defeat these sealed demon beasts, they have no business going out to train. They'd just be cannon fodder, and wouldn't survive 3 days in the outside world." Yifeng grew more excited as he listened. He asked the sect leader to pick one for him to try. In a few days, he would be heading to the Heavenly Dao battlefield, and wanted to experience the dangers of the world in advance. But Luo Wuming said these demon beasts should be left for his fellow disciples. With Yifeng's ability to take on 200 people alone, these demon beasts of the same level would be like chopping vegetables to him. After they exited, Yifeng saw a nearby sealed cave entrance, and asked, "Sect leader, can I try this one?" Luo Wuming replied, "Today's weather is nice." This left Yifeng feeling annoyed. The sect leader was ignoring him. Now, with over 2,800 defeats, Yifeng decided to stir up some trouble. He asked, "What level are these demon beasts, and how do we handle their corpses?" Chun Haoyu told Yifeng, "The corpses can be refined into essence blood, using spiritual energy. However, essence blood is only useful for body cultivators." This was the first time Yifeng had heard of body cultivators. He asked, "Senior brother, what kind of beast is a body cultivator?" Chun Haoyu explained, "Body cultivation is also a path of immortality. It involves tempering the body and absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to continuously grow stronger and larger. These people have extremely strong combat abilities, especially in close combat. And demon beast essence blood is the best supplementary resource for body cultivators." Yifeng instantly understood and said, "I get it now. Senior brother, should I eat the demon beast raw or roast it?" Chun Haoyu immediately turned into a monk, telling Yifeng that not refining the demon beast into essence blood and roasting it directly was utterly insane. It was the epitome of wastefulness. Yet Yifeng asked, "Does our sect have any body cultivators?" His senior brother told him. The fifth Grand Elder is a tribulation transcension body cultivator. This is closely related to his identity as a chi refiner. Seeing that his senior brother was about to start lecturing again, Yifeng decided to head west to seek enlightenment. Chun Haoyu watched as his junior brother left, suspecting that Yifeng might have the corpse of an extremely high-level demon beast. At that moment, Yifeng returned to the training grounds. The other disciples had no idea what was going on. Some speculated, is Yifeng planning to fight his fellow disciples again? But when the person in question overheard, the result was that the person involved instantly slacked off. The outcome left everyone speechless. He told everyone not to look at him. Even if he were trampled to death today, he wouldn't get up and beg for mercy. The next moment, Yifeng made a leap of faith to the rooftop. He told his fellow disciples, "Let's stop the sparring for today. Everyone, come help me cut the meat. I'll treat you all to a good meal." The disciples below were stunned. Yifeng was here to treat them to barbecue? Yifeng directly took out the demon beast's corpse from his storage ring. A few disciples, who couldn't react in time, were immediately overwhelmed. The disciples were all confused, not knowing what was happening. A sky-covering violet ape corpse was brought out by Yifeng. The senior and junior brothers were all frightened. This demon beast was clearly of an extraordinary level. Yifeng stood on the violet ape's body and shouted, "Everyone, come help me process this. I can't cut it all by myself. Really, I can't finish it alone." The scene instantly erupted in excitement. Everyone shouted that they wanted to join the barbecue. But when one disciple swung his sword, his precious sword shattered instantly. The demon beast's scales were too tough. Other disciples also complained. "I aimed for the weakest spot on the demon beast, but even my enhanced sword broke in one strike." This gave Yifeng a headache. He asked the system if there were any good tools he could borrow temporarily to solve this urgent problem. The next moment, the system replied, "Temporarily, you can borrow 100 sharp daggers for Yifeng to use." He felt a bit embarrassed. Since he started squandering wealth, this was the first time he had to resort to such a humble method. Yifeng told his fellow disciples to stop and try using the daggers from his bag. The group of disciples looked skeptical, thinking these daggers were only good for small tasks. But the next second, someone shouted, "Holy crap, these daggers are amazing. The demon beast scales are as fragile as paper in front of these daggers." The thick-skinned demon beast was easily cut. What level of weapon is this? It's terrifying. Seeing some foolish senior brothers experimenting on themselves, Yifeng spat out a mouthful of blood. He hadn't expected these seemingly ordinary daggers to be so powerful. Indeed, the best things often don't show off. The system reminded him not to scheme anything. Borrow and return, and you can borrow again. If you don't return them, the system will deduct a large amount of your squandered wealth. And I mean a large amount. As the disciples enthusiastically worked on the beast, the once sky-covering giant was now reduced to skin and bones. The power of foodies should never be underestimated. Everyone shouted, "This is amazing." Yifeng also gave a thumbs up. The sect barbecue gathering ended successfully. Some of the cultivators, remembering local specialties, told their fellow disciples, "Barbecue tastes even better with 9-turn large intestines." At the same time, 10 miles east of the Star Sect, a man tore through the void and stepped out of the spatial rift. This man was named Luo Kai. He had come specifically to find Luo Wuming. When he arrived at the Star Sect, he was puzzled. Has the Star Sect encountered a major crisis? Why is the mountain protecting formation already activated? Is there another force that has already arrived at the Star Sect? He sensed the surroundings and found that within 100 miles, he was the only one there. The next moment, he accelerated and charged forward. It had been a long time since he had clashed with the 9-star scripture. Luo Kai wanted to test how much he could withstand after his cultivation had improved. But the next second, a terrifying sword energy swept out. The powerful force made him instinctively dodge. This strike scared Luo Kai so much that he cursed, "Holy crap." He was mercilessly kicked out by the formation. Luo Kai was no longer arrogant. If he hadn't dodged that strike, he might have been split in half. Who on earth was behind this? Who could have improved the scripture to such a terrifying level? The formation was under attack, and Luo Wuming flew out, cursing, "Luo Kai, has your insanity flared up again? Are you blind? Can't you see the Star Sect's formation is active? If you want to die, go somewhere else." Luo Kai angrily pointed at Luo Wuming and cursed, "I was just 2 inches away from being split in half." Luo Wuming told him to stop wasting time and get to the point. Luo Kai pulled out a few spirit crystals from his pants and showed them to Luo Wuming, boasting about the results he had brought back from the Heavenly Dao battlefield. There were a total of 80 top-grade spirit crystals, but Luo Wuming was unimpressed. "Is that all? You can leave now." Luo Kai was dumbfounded. This wasn't how things were supposed to go. Shouldn't Luo Wuming be begging him for a few dozen crystals? Luo Kai asked seriously, "Why has your sect suddenly activated the protective formation? Is there a powerful enemy attacking?" And who improved the 9-star scripture to such a terrifying level? Luo Wuming chuckled and said, there's no powerful enemy. The sect just has a surplus of spirit crystals and is burning through the stockpile. As for the scripture's power increasing tenfold, the sect can afford it now. Luo Kai was furious. Trying to show off, huh? How many spirit crystals does your sect have now? Tell me, so I can laugh at you. Luo Wuming calmly replied, actually, it's not much. Just about 100 million. It should be enough to keep the formation running for 3 to 5 months. Luo Wuming added, you just returned from the Heavenly Dao battlefield, right? Besides bringing spirit crystals, is there anything else you need? Hearing 100 million. Luo Kai was speechless. Even if he worked his entire life as a cultivator, he wouldn't earn that much. He could only pretend to be calm and said, I'm here to drink with you. The two soon arrived above the inner sect area of the Star Sect. The next moment, both of them came to an abrupt stop. A tantalizing aroma filled the air. Luo Kai took a closer look and exclaimed, holy crap, this can't be real. On the ground was the corpse of a violet thunder ape. This shocked Luo Wuming as well. But with their cultivation levels, it was easy to identify a demon beast. The two fell into a brief silence in mid-air. Meanwhile, in the training grounds of the inner sect, the disciples were feasting enthusiastically. Luo Kai was still in disbelief. Luo Wuming, however, seemed used to it, but he could tell that the violet thunder ape's aura indicated it had survived 9 heavenly tribulations. Such a demon beast could ascend to the upper realm at any time, and was considered a great demon in the cultivation world. Luo Kai asked, your disciples seem busy. Are they having a barbecue? How can you, as the sect leader, allow this? Such precious flesh from a great demon is being roasted and eaten? Has the Star Sect become so wealthy that it can squander resources like this? Luo Wuming replied, the sect isn't wealthy at all. This must be the work of that squanderer, Yifeng. A disciple laughed and said, another plate please. The two looked over and were shocked again. What the hell is that thing? Luo Kai asked. Old friend, what kind of divine weapon is that? Why does your Star Sect feel so unfamiliar and terrifying to me now? Luo Wuming looked at the great demon's corpse. If refined into essence blood, it would be extremely valuable. This was a matter that required informing the 5 Grand Elders. He took out a communication token and said, Grand Elders, Yifeng is squandering again. You need to come. He's roasting a violet thunder ape that survived 9 heavenly tribulations and serving it to the disciples as barbecue. Luo Kai asked Luo Wuming, as the sect leader, can't you control a single disciple? Why do you need to inform the 5 Grand Elders? Luo Wuming cursed inwardly. He couldn't explain that Yifeng's status was now equal to the Grand Elders. Luo Wuming was at a loss for words. He wanted to, but Yifeng was now someone even he had to address as elder. Not to mention, Yifeng had donated 100 million top-grade spirit crystals and a revised version of the 9-star formation. Although he was the 6th core disciple of the sect, he was also an honorary elder, promoted by the Grand Elders. At the same time, at the back mountain of the Star Sect, Xing Tian looked puzzled as he watched Chu Yunshan trembling. The next moment, Chu Yunshan exploded in anger, leaving the other 4 even more confused. He shouted, Big brother, do you know how important the corpse of a great demon that survived 9 heavenly tribulations is to me? The other 4 quickly held him back, urging him to calm down. Cheng Xinfei even hugged him, telling him that acting impulsively was foolish. Xing Tian nodded and said, of course, such a great demon is incredibly rare. For body cultivators, it's a treasure that's hard to come by. Chu Yunshan was almost in tears. He said, there's one in our sect right now, and it's almost been completely eaten by thousands of outer sect disciples. Xing Tian and told Chu Yunshan to stop crying. He would go and stop this wasteful behavior. It had to be Yifeng. But if Yifeng just wanted to share the meat with the disciples, as elders, they couldn't force him to stop. After all, they had already taken many good things from Yifeng, and the barbecue was greatly benefiting the sect's disciples. Chu Yunshan would just have to endure it. Since they couldn't get it, they might as well join in and eat some too. They had never tasted such a high-level demon before. I wonder how it tastes. At the same time, in the training grounds, the disciples were cheering wildly. Luo Wuming and Luo Kai, 2 powerful cultivators, were devouring the violet thunder ape barbecue. Under the guise of a competition, the 5 Grand Elders, who had just arrived, fell silent. Ever since that squanderer arrived, the Star Sect had completely changed. Luo Wuming looked at the chaotic scene below, and was utterly confused. Someone was beating drums and gongs, as if holding a competition, with the violet thunder ape meat as the prize. In the end, Luo Wuming collapsed. Luo Kai, the master of eating, emerged victorious, even finishing the last scraps of meat. Now, the Grand Elders could only fight with the dogs for the bones. The disciples cheered, Brother Luo is amazing. What a true man. The powerful cultivators looked at the 1,000-person barbecue below, and fell silent. Luo Wuming sensed something was wrong, and looked up to see the Grand Elders had arrived. but the Grand Elders ignored him and asked Yifeng if they could join. Yifeng said, of course. Luo Kai chuckled and said to Luo Wuming, "You're a worse sect leader than a dog." An hour later, after everyone had eaten their fill, Chu Yunshan said, "Since these bones are useless, I'll take them." Yifeng bowed and said, "Thank you, Grand Elders, for your hard work." Luo Wuming then introduced his good friend to Yifeng, saying he was also a tribulation transcension body cultivator. Yifeng bowed and said, "Greetings, Senior Luo." Luo Kai quickly replied, "Elder Yi, you flatter me." At that moment, the system notified Yifeng that the squandering task was complete. The reward was the essence blood of a peak tribulation transcension violet thunder ape, 200 times concentrated. Yifeng asked what it meant for the demon to have survived 9 heavenly tribulations. The system's explanation was simple. It was an incredibly powerful existence. Luo Kai was in a great mood and gave Yifeng a big hug. Even so, he had to say, "Yifeng, you're too wasteful." That was something that could have been refined into essence blood. Yifeng pulled out a vial of essence blood and asked, "Is this what you mean?" Luo Kai sensed its aura and confirmed it was indeed refined from the violet thunder ape. Yifeng said, "I have a lot of this. I can give you some." The two were stunned. "The rest will be left for the dog." Hearing about the dog, Luo Kai asked, "Is this a close friend of yours?" Luo Wuming told him not to overthink it. The so-called dog was just an ordinary stray that Yifeng had by feeding it 2,000 high-grade pills. Hearing this, Luo Kai finally realized that the man before him was no ordinary. Luo Kai asked, "You were joking earlier, right?" This made the other two extremely awkward. Yifeng said, "If there's nothing else, I'll go back to feed the dog." Luo Wuming told Luo Kai to come with him to his room for a big opportunity. Luo Kai kept asking what kind of opportunity needed to be kept in a room. How big was it? Back in the room, Luo Wuming took out a pill. He said, "If it weren't for our 30,000 years of friendship, I would never offer you this." Luo Kai asked, "What is this glowing pill?" Luo Wuming sneered, "Your vision is lacking. This is a rare enlightenment pill. Take it. You'll thank me on your knees later." Luo Kai didn't hesitate and swallowed the pill in one gulp. The next moment, he felt an overwhelming surge of power filling his entire body. The intense sensation lasted for 20 minutes. Opening his 9th gate, the gate of the anus, Luo Wuming said, "Old friend, I didn't lie to you, did I?" And such enlightenment pills were only given to the sect in a batch of 70 by Yifeng. He kept 20 for himself and fed them to his dog. You know old man Xia from the He's now Yifeng's lackey, working for him and serving as an elder at his daughter's soul sect. Luo Kai's face darkened, and he prepared to leave. Luo Wuming stopped him. "Didn't we agree to drink?" Luo Kai exploded in anger. "Drink? Drink what?" Luo Wuming was startled. He was just telling the truth. Indeed, everyone was living worse than Yifeng's dog. The next moment, Luo Kai's mood soured. "I'm old, alone, with no one to rely on. No sect, no children." Luo Wuming thought he had touched a sore spot and quickly apologized. "I'm sorry." But Luo Kai's tone shifted. "You old fool. You didn't even tell me your daughter started a sect. Now I've decided to become an elder there and make it my home." With that, he left, giving Luo Wuming no chance. This made Luo Wuming furious. "Are you really going to be an elder? Don't think I don't know your intentions. You just want to be Yifeng's lackey. You once swore never to join any sect, but now, at the sight of that squanderer, you can't resist." But Luo Wuming had to admit, if he weren't Yifeng's senior, he'd want to be a lackey too. The next moment, he snapped back to reality. He had almost forgotten the important matter. The essence blood of the violet thunder ape, such a precious treasure, must be reported to the 5 Grand Elders immediately. Meanwhile, back in his dorm, Yifeng was happily singing Wolf Disco when Chun Haoyu burst in. He scolded, "Junior brother, I know you're wasteful, but you can't be this insane and heartless." Yifeng told him to stay calm and not panic over small matters. There was no need to knock so violently. He could hear him just fine. Chen Haoyu pulled out an encyclopedia, saying he had gone to the library to research. The violet thunder ape, the one you fed to the sect disciples, was the size of a small mountain. This means it was likely at the tribulation transcension level, a true ascension level demon beast. But Yifeng didn't care. What interested him was that the library allowed book borrowing. Chun Haoyu was speechless. Talking about frugality with a squandering tycoon was like playing music to a cow. He could only try to adapt to his junior brother's inhuman squandering habits. Watching the dazed senior brother leave, Yifeng didn't understand. It's just a violet thunder ape. Was it really necessary to be so upset? The door was broken, so Yifeng had to fix it himself. Half an hour later, the poor door was finally back in place. Just as Yifeng was about to rest, the door was blown apart again. This time, it was completely shattered, and even Yifeng was sent flying by the shockwave. This outrageous act was the work of the 5 Grand Elders. For the first time since Yifeng started squandering, he was knocked flat on his back, lying there with a look of utter despair. Chu Yunshan looked at Yifeng, who cut straight to the point. "Grand Elders, don't say anything. I understand. This storage ring contains 10 drops of great demon essence blood. It's a gift to the sect. Please take it and don't come back. I just want to sleep. As a Grand Elder, Chu Yunshan said he couldn't accept it. It's too embarrassing to take. Though his words said no, his hands were honest. Yifeng knew he had been sold out by his senior brother again. With the item in hand, the 5 Grand Elders quickly left, saying, Elder Yi, rest well. If you need anything, just send a message, and we'll be there. Yifeng looked at the violently destroyed door, and decided it was better to just move to a new house. Yifeng woke up from a pleasant dream, wondering what today's squandering item would be. He opened the system panel and saw, squandering item, calming incense, 100 sticks. The calming incense was made from 10,000-year-old divine spirit wood. When burned, it emitted a fragrance that calmed the mind and spirit. Yifeng chuckled. This time, he finally got something useful for himself. Burning the calming incense would help him sleep better. Meanwhile, outside the courtyard, Yifeng was unaware that he had been targeted by several thousand-year-old men. Luo Wuming analyzed Yifeng's squandering habits. Every day, Yifeng had to squander something valuable, or he would feel uncomfortable. The next moment, he noticed a strange scent in the air. Luo Wuming took a deep breath and realized it was something extraordinary. Without informing the other Grand Elders, he rushed toward the source. That scent was definitely calming incense, and not the ordinary kind. Inside the room, Yifeng was lighting his 33rd stick. When the door was violently broken down again, Yifeng cursed, Am I not allowed to have a door in this sect? Luo Wuming paid no heed to his own rough behavior, took a few deep breaths of the incense. The 5 Grand Elders also entered, confirming it was indeed calming incense. From the scent, it's of the highest quality. The 6 bloodsuckers had arrived together, making Yifeng wonder if he was still dreaming. He asked, Sect leader, Grand Elders, brings you here so early in the morning? Luo Wuming asked, What grade of spirit wood is this calming incense made from? Yifeng replied, Just ordinary 10,000-year-old divine spirit wood. Luo Wuming forced a calm expression. 10,000-year-old divine spirit wood? The effect is decent. Yifeng looked skeptical. Just decent. It seems this 10,000-year-old divine spirit wood is just average. Compared to my previous items, it's not even close. Luo Wuming watched as Yifeng casually lit the incense, his heart nearly exploding. This act of squandering was too much. He almost wanted to kneel and beg Yifeng to stop, but in the end, he decided to let the sect leader handle it. Just moments ago, Yifeng, hearing the sect leader call the incense average, thought it was worthless and tossed it into a metal basin to burn. Luo Wuming secretly transmitted a message to the Grand Elders. Yifeng burned 100 sticks of calming incense. The Grand Elders exchanged glances. The other 4 couldn't stay calm. Their hearts ached at the sight of such waste. Burning 1 stick versus 100 sticks made no difference to Yifeng. This pained them deeply. It was truly heartbreaking. The Grand Elders watched as Yifeng, who had just woken up, burned 100 sticks of calming incense, and then went back to sleep. Chu Yunshan couldn't take it anymore. He really wanted to slap Yifeng to wake him up. But Luo Wuming warned him, Try hitting our benefactor, and you'll regret it. Now, leave and don't disturb Yifeng's rest. Once outside, Luo Wuming vented his frustration, cursing non-stop. Though he didn't swear, his tone was fierce. Half an hour later, he finally calmed down. Letting it all out made him feel better. Zhang Haoyu was on the verge of tears. Not only have I never seen 10,000-year-old divine spirit wood, I haven't even seen 1,000-year-old wood. Luo Wuming speculated that the calming incense might not just be 10,000 years old. It could have been made from the heart of the tree, making it far more valuable. The Grand Elders discussed among themselves, wondering how Yifeng had so many connections that didn't match his status. Well, as long as Yifeng is in the sect, it's a huge benefit for the Star Sect. Even if he's wasteful, we'll get used to it. Luo Wuming told the 5 Grand Elders, If we can't change it, we might as well close our eyes and enjoy the ride. Chu Yunshan chuckled. You old fox, you really know how to put it. Your words are always so profound. Using impact to describe it, earned Luo Wuming thumbs up from the other Grand Elders. Under Luo Wuming's guidance, the 5 Grand Elders sat cross-legged outside Yifeng's courtyard, absorbing the essence of the sun and moon. An hour later, Yifeng finished his nap. He woke up feeling refreshed. The calming incense having worked wonders. Most importantly, the incense had finally burned out. Congratulations, host, for completing today's squandering task. Reward, 200 sticks of calming incense, made from 10,000-year-old divine spirit wood. Yifeng was stunned. What is this? Even the sect leader said it's worthless. What's the point of giving me more sleep aids? If the system doesn't want to give rewards, just don't give them. No need to be stingy. Inside the room, Yifeng looked at the system reward. Even a dog wouldn't want this. Yet the system gave me 200 more sticks? He tossed them all on the ground, thinking they didn't match his squandering style. Carrying them around would ruin his image as a tycoon. So, he decided to throw them all away. As Yifeng opened the door, he was met with countless eyes staring at him. Yifeng was puzzled. Why are the sect leader and grand elders still here? What are they waiting for? Sitting on the ground, Luo Wuming, with a straight face, began to ramble. Cultivators should meditate wherever they feel at ease. As long as the heart is calm, the location doesn't matter. Luo Wuming gave him an approving look from behind. Whatever the grand elders said was right. Yifeng thought, since the grand elders are here, even if they don't want this stuff, they can distribute it to the sect disciples. Without a second thought, he tossed the 200 sticks of calming incense on the ground and walked away. Luo Xingtian was dumbfounded. This guy's squandering is truly insane. Watching Yifeng treat the calming incense like trash, Luo Wuming asked, do you guys feel like we've turned into beggars? And why did Yifeng just throw the incense on the ground, without saying anything? What does it mean? Luo Wuming stopped the grand elders. Earlier, he had only said the calming incense was decent, and Yifeng's expression had immediately changed. This realization hit Luo Wuming hard. Luo Wuming, grand elders, Yifeng probably thought your praise wasn't high enough, so he treated the calming incense as trash, and casually tossed it to us to deal with. Uncertain, Luo Wuming decided to knock on Yifeng's door and ask, should we help you dispose of this calming incense? Yifeng shouted, thanks, grand elders. Just throw this junk away for me. Having this stuff at home is embarrassing. With Yifeng's confirmation, Luo Wuming chuckled like a chicken, shouting, brothers, let's go. Back at the cave, Luo Wuming distributed the calming incense equally among the grand elders. Luo Wuming, the fool, came to claim his share, asking, where's my portion, grand elders? Luo Xingtian looked displeased. You eat and use the sect's resources, now you want more? Don't even think about it. This stuff isn't for you. He then opened a 10-meter-high window and threw him out. Luo Wuming never expected to be the clown in this situation. They were all beggars together, but when it came to dividing the spoils, he was left out. Chu Yunshan shouted, big brother, being a beggar feels amazing. Should we keep doing this? The 5 grand elders had already prepared their old traveling. They told their leader, from now on, we'll camp outside Yifeng's door every morning. No matter what he throws out, we'll say it's average. Though begging sounded strange, getting rare treasures every day made Chu Yunshan determined to be a beggar. The others nodded, agreeing that begging was the way to wealth. Grow big and strong. Luo Wuming said, you're all being shallow. This isn't begging. We're preventing Yifeng from squandering good stuff. As grand elders, it's our duty to help disciples solve problems. Then, the grand elder went to the window and said, Luo Wuming, did you hear? Yifeng is heading to the Heavenly Dao battlefield tomorrow. You must ensure his safety at all costs. Not even a single hair should be harmed. Luo Wuming was stunned, but considering Yifeng was their benefactor, such protection wasn't excessive. Luo Wuming even instructed him to personally escort Yifeng to the Heavenly Dao battlefield's teleportation array. The next day, in Yifeng's courtyard, he was full of energy. A new day of squandering had begun. Yesterday's failure wouldn't be repeated. Today, he would leave his useless self behind. He confidently opened the system panel to check today's squandering item. Squandering item. 10,000 Earth Prison Talismans. Earth Prison Talismans can summon an Earth Prison to trap enemies. Yifeng smiled. Interesting. Control-type talismans? The system really loves me. It knows I'm heading to the Heavenly Dao battlefield and sent me some life-saving squandering items. This time, Yifeng decided not to waste them and planned to save them for the battlefield. Meanwhile, outside Yifeng's courtyard, Grand Elder Luo Wuming was hiding in a corner. Knowing Yifeng was leaving today, he decided to try his luck and see if he could get one last haul before Yifeng left. Though it felt a bit unethical, not to tell the others, begging wasn't exactly honorable. This humiliation was something he, as the leader, would bear alone. But then he saw the second Grand Elder, who had come even more prepared, with a well-crafted prop. This made Luo Xingtian furious. This guy is going too far. I didn't even think of using props. If we're begging, we might as well do it professionally. The second Grand Elder said, Big brother, how about we team up today and split whatever we get? Luo Xingtian finally smiled. Good brother indeed. They were truly close, but the next moment, he noticed something was off. He pointed to a spot ahead. The figure hiding behind the tree looked familiar. Isn't that the third elder? Turns out, the third elder's equipment was even more advanced. He asked, Big brother, second brother, do you mind if I join you? Luo Xingtian said, You brat, that bowl of yours is quite nice. You must have some side hustle. A soft hum echoed in their ears. A delicate, jade-like figure slowly came into view. The alluring scene made the three of them exclaim, Holy crap, this is against the rules. You're using this to test your disciple? This kind of trick shattered their morals, senses, and worldview, completely corrupted. At that moment, a delicate jade-like figure appeared. But could you believe that the owner of those legs was actually the fourth elder, a cultivator over 30,000 years old, dressed in a sexy, retro Taoist robe, with wild makeup, trying to pull off a pure yet seductive style. The other three exclaimed, "What the hell?" Luo Xingtian looked around, knowing the fifth elder must be here too. That guy is the most shameless. The fourth elder told him to look behind. He's been lying there all along. When they turned around, they thought, what's the point of competing now? We agreed on a fair competition, but this guy is taking it seriously. With that outfit, people would throw coins at him anywhere. Luo Xingtian couldn't take it anymore. He yelled, "Are you all beasts? It's just begging. Do you have to be so competitive?" The sudden outburst startled the fifth elder, who was hiding nearby. Meanwhile, Luo Wuming planned to take Yifeng early to the Heavenly Dao Battlefield's teleportation point, but when he arrived at the courtyard, a shocking scene made him spit out blood in disbelief. His eyes seemed to have seen something unclean. When the elders saw Luo Wuming arrive, they asked if he needed a bowl too. Luo Wuming turned and ran, afraid he might be silenced on the spot for seeing something he shouldn't have. As he ran, he shouted, "I didn't see anything." 10 minutes later, Yifeng finally woke up. When he opened the door, he exclaimed, "Holy crap!" Before him were the 5 contestants of the most pitiful competition. The scene fell into an awkward silence. Yifeng had no idea what was going on, but when he saw the bowls in the elders' hands, each of them holding one, he realized the 5 elders were testing their willpower, imitating ascetic cultivation to transcend worldly desires. They came to him to judge who among them was most in harmony with the heavens and earth. Luo Wuxing, not planning to say a word. The next moment, drops of demon blood fell into the bowls. Yifeng was truly exhausted. Not only did he have to judge the best beggar of the year, but he also had to reward them out of his own pocket. A disciple like him might still exist somewhere, but they're almost extinct. He didn't want to stay in the courtyard any longer. After Yifeng judged the best beggar of the year, the 5th elder proudly asked, "Who else?" This method was indeed safe and effective, but his arrogance led to him being grabbed by the throat and dragged away on the spot. The others smiled with murderous intent, asking if he planned to keep all the rewards for himself. "We agreed to share both fortune and hardship. You're not thinking of running off with the loot, are you?" Only then did the 5th elder realize he had been a bit too cocky. He hadn't expected his excitement to backfire. Of course, good brothers share everything. Meanwhile, in the sect's main hall, Luo Wuming was already waiting for Yifeng. Yifeng said he had already bid farewell to the elders. The elders truly lived up to their reputation as cultivators, training their minds with such dedication. Their commitment was unparalleled. They were truly the pillars of the cultivation world. To experience the mortal world's trials, they willingly lived a beggar's life of heartbreak. Yifeng said the elders didn't say anything, but he understood. So he rewarded the 5th elder, who performed the most pitifully, with a drop of great demon blood. Luo Wuming was completely dumbfounded. How could this be called training? They were clearly pretending to be beggars, to swindle treasures from him. This situation was terrible. Since they succeeded this time, next time, these 5 would only become more shameless. Thinking of this, Luo Wuming sighed helplessly. Life was hard. Who made him not an elder? If he were, he could have controlled them. Meanwhile, Yifeng excitedly asked, "Master, are the other disciples ready? When are we going to the Heavenly Dao Battlefield?" Luo Wuming took out a treasure and told Yifeng that the elders had instructed him to escort Yifeng alone. Watching the god of wealth leave, the 5 elders felt a bit reluctant. He would be gone for several days, and they would miss him. Moreover, once he left, after his training ended, he might return to the Star Soul Sect. They began discussing how the sect already had a protective formation, so they might as well visit the Star Soul Sect to check things out. This infuriated Luo Wuming. He asked if they could have some shame. The moment Yifeng left, they immediately tried to follow him. Look at the 5th elder. How pragmatic he is. He knows what's meant to leave cannot be stopped. But then, Chu Yunshan had already packed his bags, saying, "Big brother, after I leave, the sect will be in your hands. Thank you for your care over the years. Goodbye, Xinjidong." With a bang, a figure shot into the sky, breaking through the heavens. It was Luo Wuming, his anger boiling over. He ordered them all to go back. No one was allowed to sneak off to the Star Soul Sect. This was his final word, or they would face the consequences. Instantly, the elders quieted down. They realized Big Brother was truly angry. Meanwhile, on the way to the Heavenly Dao Battlefield, Yifeng asked why the journey was so quiet, with not even a single demon beast or cultivator in sight. Luo Wuming said it was normal. The nearby demon beasts might have been wiped out by cultivators practicing their skills. As for not seeing any cultivators, that was also normal. After all, the profound sky continent was vast and boundless. But as soon as he finished speaking, something happened. Yifeng and Luo Wuming were startled. The person who appeared was a female bodhisattva. The woman smiled and said, "Meeting is fate. I wonder if the 2 of you can entertain me and make me happy?" Luo Wuming saw that this demon was powerful and not easy to deal with. He warned Yifeng to be careful. She might attack with her assets, but he assured Yifeng that he was still strong and could hold on. He told Yifeng to find an opportunity to escape. Hearing this, the demon laughed. Young meat wants to leave? Who would want to eat this old jerky? A purple lightning attack descended from the sky. Stay a while. Why rush? Let's have some fun first. Luo Wuming was trapped in a formation, his face pale. She was indeed a great demon at the 9th level of the Tribulation Realm. Yifeng also looked serious. He had never seen such a powerful demon before. The female demon smiled and said she only wanted to make a deal with them. If they could offer her a treasure that moved her heart, enough to buy their freedom, she would let them leave safely. Luo Wuming transformed into One Punch Man, declaring that demons could not be trusted. Did she think he was a child? How dare she try to swindle him with such a lowly trick? But the next moment, he was stunned. Drops of great demon blood flew out. This outcome left Luo Wuming speechless. But the female demon was equally shocked. She repeatedly checked if she was seeing things correctly. At this moment, Luo Wuming scolded Yifeng fiercely, asking if his squandering disease had flared up again. She's a demon with no credibility. Now that you've taken out such a treasure, she'll never let you leave safely. But Yifeng smiled darkly and said, Master, isn't this even better? When the time comes, I won't mind slaying another Ascension-level demon. This shocked Luo Wuming. Did this kid have some hidden trump card? Meanwhile, the female demon was also frightened. The blood essence just now was indeed from a demon who had survived 9 heavenly tribulations. She herself had only survived 2. For a moment, she couldn't figure out the true origins of the 2 men. Being cautious, she told them they could leave now. Their attire suggested they were and their identities might be dangerous. She couldn't afford to gamble. If she lost, her life would be ruined. Watching the spatial barrier open, Luo Wuming urged Yifeng to leave quickly. No matter what her intentions were, escaping now was the best option. But Yifeng told him to wait. Why rush? What's the hurry? The demon, and the 2 not immediately leaving, felt even more convinced of their confidence. Luo Wuming, on the other hand, urged Yifeng to stop provoking her. Showing off once is enough. But if someone wants to court death, no one can stop them. Yifeng shouted to the sky, Hey, beauty, look, I have 50 drops of great demon blood essence. If you kill me now, they're all yours. This made Luo Wuming cry out in despair. Damn it, if you want to die, don't drag me into it. He looked utterly defeated, muttering, what a disaster. But Yifeng had his own plan. He knew that if he were in danger, his bodyguards would come to his rescue. So he was tempting the demon to kill him. But this only made the female demon more afraid. This kid is definitely not ordinary. There must be some terrifying powerhouse nearby. If I dare to attack, I'll be turned to ashes in an instant. Thinking this, she transformed into her full demon form. She knew she only had one chance. If she failed, it would be the end. Yifeng, excited, pointed and said, Master, look, this demon is a mantis. Luo Wuming explained, a bloodthirsty mantis. As long as it has a steady supply of powerful blood essence, it can grow stronger. It's an extremely troublesome and powerful demon beast. Just as they were discussing this, the female demon turned and fled. She never expected the pressure from the 2 to be so overwhelming that it forced her to reveal her true form. The squandering addicted man had just auctioned off a female sect leader, now encountered a powerful demon. He even offered to squander more, asking the demoness to stay for 10 more rounds. The mantis demoness had been fleeing for 3 days and nights, exhausted and gasping for breath. She thought she had escaped safely. Looking at the great demon blood essence in her hand, she sighed. I was too cautious. What if they just stumbled upon this treasure? I might have missed a huge opportunity. She stored the blood essence, thinking it wasn't a loss. Coming out this time, I gained such a treasure. It's a pity I couldn't taste that old man and the young one. Just then, she heard a voice behind her, roaming the world, seeking freedom. Today is the day to slay demons. Heroes sing the song of the wind. How many petty villains can stand against us? It was Yifeng, riding on Luo Wuming, who had transformed into an ox horse, charging towards her. The mantis demoness was terrified. These 2 were actually chasing her. Luo Wuming shouted, We're almost there, but I can't keep this up much longer. Yifeng, hurry. The mantis demoness was on the verge of collapse. She had never been pursued like this before. Her life was hanging by a thread. Yifeng squandered money like crazy, telling Luo Wuming to charge ahead without worry. He had nothing but money, and snacks were plentiful. Hearing this, Luo Wuming's energy instantly replenished. This reckless scared the mantis demoness to tears. She had just turned 18, and these 2 men actually wanted to capture her as a pet. Seeing the demoness within reach, Yifeng shouted, Demon, don't run. Let's fight fair and square. If I lose, all my wealth is yours. If you lose, you'll be my bed warmer. The mantis demoness cried out, turned, and fled, screaming, I don't want to fight. I don't want the great demon blood essence anymore. I just beg you to spare me, so we can meet again in the future. Luo Wuming, watching the demoness flee again, suggested to Yifeng, Maybe we should let her go. I'm severely drained and can't keep up. Yifeng patted Luo Wuming gently, telling him to just throw him forward. Luo Wuming nodded, wishing Yifeng good luck, and Yifeng shot forward like a cannonball, closing in on the Mantis demoness with a sonic boom. When the demoness saw Yifeng suddenly behind her, she was stunned. She made one last desperate move, swinging her scythes wildly behind her, yelling at Yifeng to go away. She didn't want to be a bed-warming servant. The next moment, a cracking sound echoed in the sky. Luo Wuming, watching from below, was shocked. Did her backup arrive? He was confused, unsure of what was happening, but Yifeng was excited, staring intently at the crack in the sky. The Mantis demoness also stopped attacking and looked up. The void slowly split open, and with a loud crack, the void shattered. A golden-armored Super Scion emerged, roaring, "This place is indeed noisy." The Squandering Guardian team had arrived, intimidating the demoness. Submit or die. The Mantis demoness, a 9th-level Tribulation Realm demon, could only kneel and surrender. As the pet contract was being signed, Yifeng's burning passion overwhelmed her. The golden-armored warrior from the void grumbled about the noisy thunder. During the spatial crossing, the Mantis demoness was too scared to move. The guardian bowed to Yifeng, apologizing for being late. "Master, I apologize for the delay. Please don't hold it against me." Yifeng, sitting on the Mantis demoness, told him not to worry about the details. "After all, I'm still alive, right? You came just in time." The guardian punched the void, creating a crystal path, telling Yifeng he could now walk on it. Yifeng asked if the Squandering Guardian team only had one member. The golden-armored warrior replied, "With your current level of danger, I alone am more than enough. There are tens of thousands of us, and we deploy based on the threat level." The guardian then looked at the Mantis demoness, asking Yifeng if he should eliminate the threat. The demoness immediately apologized, kowtowing and begging for mercy. "I was blind. Please spare me. I know I was wrong." Seeing the problem resolved, Yifeng told the guardian to stand down for now. "If she tries anything again, I'll call you back." The guardian assured Yifeng he was always on call. Yifeng, smiling, gave the Mantis demoness 2 options. First, become my mount. Second, die. As soon as he finished speaking, the Mantis demoness quickly chose the first option. She didn't want to die. Yifeng laughed, satisfied with his new pet. The adventure continued. The Mantis demoness knelt before Yifeng, saying, "Master, I'll agree to anything." This startled Yifeng. Happiness came too suddenly. A piece of paper slowly appeared before Yifeng, covered in runes he couldn't recognize. He had no idea what it was. Luo Wuming explained it was a heavenly Tao contract. "Just drip your blood on it, and her life will be in your hands. You can do whatever you want with her in the future." The Mantis demoness now looked at him with pitiful eyes, hoping to evoke his sympathy. But Yifeng was not only a squanderer but also a lecher. A drop of blood for a beauty like her? Totally worth it. He wouldn't miss such a great opportunity. When his blood dripped onto the contract, an ancient runic aura awakened. The Mantis demoness, now bound by the contract, felt a surge of heat within her body, her entire being burning up. It felt like waves of heat were crashing inside her. She couldn't withstand it, and with all her strength, she let out a scream. "Congratulations, host, for acquiring a bloodthirsty mantis. A joyous occasion indeed." Yifeng looked at the Mantis demoness, gently stroking her forehead and saying, "My name is Yifeng. From now on, I'm your master. Being my loyal follower won't disappoint you." The Squandering Man entered the Heavenly Tao battlefield, with his rule-breaking guardian team by his side. Yifeng, now in a place without acquaintances, squandered even more recklessly. He captured prisoners without mercy, spending money like water on the battlefield. Just moments ago, Yifeng had convinced the Mantis demoness to carry him and Luo Wuming on her back. Luo Wuming, sitting atop her, calmly said, "Yifeng, I know you're from above, but what exactly is your background?" Yifeng just laughed, telling him he was merely the head disciple of his master. Though Luo Wuming didn't get a clear answer, he was still pleased. His daughter had truly recruited a god of wealth. Yifeng noticed that the old man didn't seem to care much about his identity. The 3 of them traveled westward, reaching the Heavenly Tao battlefield's teleportation tower, just as the sun was setting. Yifeng looked at the dense crowd below, remarking, "There are so many people." Luo Wuming explained, "Though the Heavenly Tao battlefield is extremely dangerous, each realm is an independent space. There are no cross-realm battles, so it's relatively safe. That's why the benefits outweigh the risks, and so many cultivators come here to seek great opportunities." Yifeng pondered that he could take on 100 enemies alone. In a direct fight, he wasn't afraid of anyone. He was among the top in his realm, but just to be safe, he asked the system if the Squandering Guardian team could intervene if he encountered danger in the Heavenly Tao battlefield. The system replied, "First, the Squandering Guardian team completely ignores the rules of the Heavenly Tao battlefield. They can appear at any time." Yifeng immediately praised the system. With this, he could act recklessly in the battlefield without worry. Yifeng turned to the Mantis demoness, Xiao Shui. Escort Master Luo back to the Sect first. I don't know how long this training will take. Luo Wuming also wanted to return to the Sect quickly. This demoness had survived 2 heavenly tribulations. Now that she had joined the Star Soul Sect, their strength would rise to a new level. Yifeng entered the heavenly Dao battlefield. After walking for a few minutes, he fell silent. The place was eerily empty. Not a single person, nor even a demon beast, was in sight. Suddenly, a voice called out, "First time here?" Yifeng, unsuspecting, nodded. The chubby man introduced himself as Li Fei, asking Yifeng about his strength and if he needed guidance. After all, he was a regular in the battlefield. Yifeng glanced at the man's strength. Both were at the peak of the 9th level of the Qi condensation realm. The two exchanged a smile, each recognizing the other's cunning. The next second, they bumped fists, becoming monster-hunting teammates. Li Fei wondered if Yifeng was naive, foolish, or if he had some incredible trump card that made him so fearless. Yifeng also smiled, thinking Li Fei was trying to manipulate him, coming over to act like brothers right away. I haven't even killed anyone since I transmigrated here. I feel like I'm letting down the transmigrator community. Li Fei suggested forming a team, splitting all resources equally. Yifeng excitedly said, "Thank you, brother." Li Fei smirked. If Yifeng was strong, he'd team up honestly. But if Yifeng was weak, he'd have no qualms betraying him. The two soon sneaked into the demon beast territory. Li Fei told Yifeng, "Since it's your first time, let's test your strength with some ironback rats. They're around levels 5 to 8 of the Qi condensation realm. There are about 300 of them here." Li Fei asked Yifeng to attack, so he could see his spiritual attributes. But as soon as he finished speaking, talismans filled the air. "That squandering man is at it again." Yifeng smirked, flinging talismans everywhere. Li Fei was stunned for 3 minutes. "What the hell are you doing? Why are you throwing so many talismans around?" And they were all high-grade talismans. Yifeng calmly said, "Isn't it obvious? I'm wiping out the demon beasts in one go." Watching Yifeng show off, Li Fei fell into deep thought. Someone actually tried to scheme against the squandering man? The result was obvious. He got completely dominated. Then another person showed up, demanding Yifeng hand over his wealth and leave. But the next moment, he was dumbfounded. Yifeng's wealth had vanished. Just moments ago, a group of ironback rats noticed the commotion and sent their minions to investigate. But the next second, the rats found themselves immobilized, trapped by cages on the ground. Chaos ensued. The ironback rats were completely baffled. Who the hell is raiding our nest? The loudest rat was instantly stabbed through the heart by Yifeng's sword, serving as a warning to the others. Watching the ironback rats get wiped out, Li Fei exclaimed, "Holy crap, brother. You're ruthless. You used 300 precious control talismans just to kill some low-level rats? Are you here to hunt, or just to squander money?" 20 minutes later, the restrained ironback rats were peacefully sent off by Yifeng. He sighed, "Killing demon beasts is exhausting. What do you think of my strength, Li Fei?" Li Fei looked at this shameless squandering man, wanting to slap him twice. Damn, this guy has no shame. He had secretly tested the talismans earlier. Unless he used his full strength, couldn't break them. Now he was full of questions. Did Yifeng use these talismans just to kill demon beasts, or to show off to me? If it's the latter, that's just insane. Yifeng asked, "Brotherly, why are you standing there? Are you planning to build tombstones for the rats?" Li Fei shouted, "Aren't you going to collect the demon cores? Even though they're low-level beasts, they're still worth a fortune." Yifeng waved his hand dismissively. "I didn't realize you were struggling so much, brotherly. You can have the demon cores." Li Fei was speechless. This guy is really good at pretending. Everyone's here for resources, and selling these beasts could make a fortune. I'll stick with him and see how long he can keep this up. Just then, an unexpected situation arose. A cultivator quickly approached the two. Seeing the ground littered with ironback rat corpses, he sped up even more. Li Fei decided to follow Yifeng closely, curious to see how far he could go. But then, an unexpected situation. A cultivator quickly approached the two. Seeing the ground littered with ironback rat corpses, he sped up even more. The next second, he stood in the air above, looking down disdainfully at the two below. He said, "If you don't want to die, leave the ironback rat corpses behind. Leave now, and I'll spare your lives." This brazen act left the two speechless. Yifeng asked, "Which faction are you from? How dare you provoke me?" Inside, Yifeng was thrilled. Finally, someone fearless enough to rob him. He was ready to kill, planning to make this guy his first victim. Since transmigrating here, without wasting words, Yifeng immediately attacked, flinging talismans everywhere. Seeing the talismans flying toward him, the masked man was horrified. He couldn't understand how Yifeng still had so many talismans after using 300 earlier. Before he could react, a deafening explosion rang out, sending a shockwave across a 10-mile radius. The masked man was trapped in a talisman cage, attacking it for 3 hours. and breaking through 13 layers. As he was about to break the final layer, Yifeng walked over calmly, pulling out another dozen talismans. He smiled and said, "You're not getting out anytime soon. I've got plenty more where these came from." Li Fei finally realized, this guy is definitely a big shot, and an insanely wasteful one at that. The masked man cursed, "Yifeng, you bastard, if you're a man, let me out and fight me fair and square." But as soon as he finished his tough talk, Yifeng stabbed him through the heart, ending his life without hesitation. This shameless act left the masked man speechless. He had completely miscalculated. Yifeng wasn't just a squanderer, he was also sharp and ruthless. The man wasn't stupid, and his intelligence was clearly intact. Yifeng smiled mysteriously, looking down at the man. "You're not worthy of fighting me. You don't have the qualifications to make me take you seriously." Yifeng, the squandering man, finally exhausted himself after 5 hours of reckless spending. He then took out some recovery pills to replenish his energy, letting his teammate continue squandering in the Heavenly Dao battlefield. At this moment, Yifeng kicked the masked man, who was still trapped in the talisman cage, and Li Fei felt a wave of fear. The seemingly kind and harmless guy was actually a ruthless schemer. He had thought Yifeng was a naive fool, but his innocence and kindness were all an act. He had almost been fooled. This was a cold-blooded, squandering killer. Yifeng handed Li Fei a stack of talismans, telling him, "Fighting is too crude. If you run into trouble, just throw these talismans. Don't hold back. I've got plenty more." Li Fei was stunned. This guy didn't care about money at all. Suddenly, Yifeng's expression darkened. There were less than 5 hours left until the next day, and he had only squandered 1,000 talismans. He still had 9,000 left to waste. Soon, explosions echoed through the Heavenly Dao battlefield. The demon beasts thought the apocalypse had come. As countless talismans rained down from the sky, Li Fei became Yifeng's second-in-command, indulging in the thrill of reckless spending. Yifeng was also thoroughly enjoying himself. Here, no one could stop him. Anyone who tried would be blown to bits before they got close. 5 hours later, Yifeng finally completed his mission. Congratulations, host, for squandering today's resources. Reward, 1,000 squandering points, and 100 enlightenment pills. Li Fei thanked Yifeng for the extravagant experience. He had made a fortune overnight, earning more than he usually would in a year. He thought to himself, Yifeng must be a core disciple of some major sect. I must never cross him. Just then, Yifeng stood up and said, "Good brother, let's continue our journey." Li Fei nodded, ready to follow Yifeng on more wild adventures. The two set off, ready to conquer the Heavenly Dao battlefield together. "Today, you've done me a huge favor. Don't worry, I won't let you help for nothing. Here's a stewed peony pill. Take it to replenish your energy. Eat it while it's still warm." For a moment, Li Fei was hesitant. This thing looks black and suspicious. Could it be a poison pill? Is the other person planning to silence me after using me? But if I don't eat it, I'll offend him. Would he use some secret weapon to kill me? Thinking this, he swallowed it without hesitation. Good stuff goes down in one gulp, clean and hygienic. But as soon as it hit his stomach, a strange sensation surged. Instantly, Li Fei's brain began to develop rapidly. Yifeng asked him why he was just standing there. "Are you stupid? The enlightenment pill only lasts 20 minutes. Hurry up and cultivate while you can." Yifeng thought to himself that if he didn't have so many enlightenment pills, he wouldn't have given one to a stranger. These were just snacks for his dog at home. 20 minutes later, Li Fei slowly woke up. Now, he was filled with regret. When he had taken the enlightenment pill, his pig brain had just been standing there in a daze. He had wasted a full 2 minutes. Then, he knelt on one knee and declared to Yifeng, "From now on, I'm your little brother. I will never forget this kindness. If you ever need anything in the future, just say the word, Brother Yi." But Yifeng suddenly asked him which world he was from. Hearing this, Li and whispered in Yifeng's ear, "The myriad worlds, the heavenly fire world." The prodigal man had actually returned to Earth as a prodigal transmigrator. That man was ready to start showing off again. Just moments ago, Li Fei had said he was from the heavenly fire world of the myriad worlds. Yifeng had never heard of it. He only knew of the profound heaven world. Li Fei chuckled and said he was from a small place. Indeed, the heavenly fire world wasn't well known. The scene Li Fei had imagined didn't happen. He had thought that since Yifeng was so generous, he must be from the heavenly fire world too. If he said he was from the heavenly fire world, Yifeng, as a fellow native, would surely give him gifts. But Yifeng mentioned the profound heaven world instead, completely ruining Li Fei's plan to get closer. As expected, free lunches aren't easy to come by. The two walked through the Heavenly Dao battlefield for about 10 minutes. When Li Fei noticed a glowing spot ahead, Yifeng curiously asked what it was. Li Fei, holding a small shovel, shouted, "Brother Yi, we've hit the jackpot. This is a huge score." Yifeng asked curiously, "What is it?" Li Fei excitedly yelled, "Brother Yi, we're rich. This is spirit gold. Even though it's low grade, there are about 200 pieces here. It's a considerable fortune." Yifeng asked, "Are you really that poor? You call anything you find a jackpot?" Hearing Yifeng's teasing, Li Fei stopped what he was doing and asked Yifeng, "What are you even here for in the Heavenly Dao battlefield?" Yifeng replied, "It's simple. I'm here to squander my wealth. I have plenty of good stuff. The resources in this Heavenly Dao battlefield don't interest me at all." Li Fei was stunned. Is this how prodigal experts talk now? Li Fei told Yifeng that if he wanted to squander his wealth, the Heavenly Dao battlefield wasn't the right place. Heavenly Dao City was the perfect spot for prodigal spending. Heavenly Dao City was the most unique place in the Heavenly Dao battlefield. It was filled with endless treasures, resources, and techniques. As long as you had money, you could buy almost anything there. It was a paradise for prodigal men. The entire city was governed by the laws of the Heavenly Dao, so there was no need to worry about being robbed or killed. However, to enter Heavenly Dao City, you needed a Heavenly Dao token. One token only allowed you to stay for a day. Li Fei happened to have one. Yifeng asked where he got it. Li Fei scratched his head and said he had found it in a ruin. Although he had the token, he was too poor to afford anything inside. So, he had never dared to enter. Yifeng asked, "Where can you get these tokens?" Li Fei scratched his head again and said, "I found mine in a ruin by chance, but even with the token, I'm too poor to do anything there." Yifeng nodded thoughtfully. It seemed that Heavenly Dao City was the place. He smiled at Yifeng, thinking that this was a sure deal. As long as he handed over the Heavenly Dao token, the other party would definitely reward him with a great opportunity. But Yifeng stopped him. He never took things from others for free. He indeed needed the Heavenly Dao token, so he accepted it. However, he insisted that Li Fei take this bottle of enlightenment pills. Li Fei clutched the bottle of enlightenment pills, knowing that Brother Yi was not a stingy person. As soon as Yifeng got the Heavenly Dao token, he bit his finger and let a drop of blood fall onto the golden talisman. With a poof, smoke surrounded him. Yifeng was startled, but it was too late. In the next moment, he disappeared, teleported away by the Heavenly Dao token. Li Fei opened the bottle and saw 13 enlightenment pills inside. Another day of huge profits. Above Heavenly Dao City, a spatial rift appeared. Yifeng was teleported out of the rift with 8 kidneys. He felt like 2 of them had just been smashed, but the next moment, he was shocked by what he saw. The plain concrete ground, the high-end office buildings of the 996 work culture. Was this really Heavenly Dao City? The prodigal cultivator instantly transforming into a trendy rapper. But the next moment, he was shocked again. Wasn't it said that fighting was forbidden in Heavenly Dao City? Yet, 2 super scions were cursing at each other. A luxury Rolls-Royce was out running errands, asking if anyone needed a ride. A group of people noticed Yifeng's weak cultivation level, wondering how a weakling like him had come to Heavenly Dao City. Yifeng cursed at them, calling them crazy. Suddenly, someone nearby was furiously cursing. The intensity of the insults was off the charts. When Yifeng turned to look, he was completely stunned. It was Sun Wukong and Vegeta, a blonde and a black-haired guy, hurling insults at each other. Yifeng quietly asked someone nearby, "Isn't it said that fighting is forbidden in Heavenly Dao City?" The man told Yifeng that they were just bickering. One was from the Xuanshu world, and the other was from the Binzi world. Every time they met, they had to fight. Every time they collaborated on a project, they would end up fighting. Yifeng asked, "What about you, old brother? What's your deal?" The old driver snorted coldly and asked Yifeng if he needed a ride. The price was affordable. 5 Heavenly Dao points to start. Yifeng was confused. What were Heavenly Dao points? The man was furious. "You don't even know what Heavenly Dao points are? You must be a newbie, a country bumpkin. You're clearly a poor bastard." He had wasted 2 seconds on Yifeng. The old driver stepped on the gas and drifted away, looking for the next customer. Yifeng was speechless. He had only asked a simple question. This guy was way too irritable. Half an hour later, Yifeng arrived at the Heavenly Earth Bank. This should be the place where he could exchange for Heavenly Dao points. As soon as Yifeng stepped inside, a receptionist warmly greeted him. "Sir, what business would you like to conduct?" Yifeng asked if this was where he could get Heavenly Dao points. Qianhu immediately knew that the other party was a newcomer. He explained that in Heavenly Dao City, 1 top-grade spirit gold could be exchanged for 1 Heavenly Dao point. All transactions in Heavenly Dao City were conducted using Heavenly Dao points. Yifeng thought to himself, 1 top-grade spirit gold for 1 Heavenly Dao point? In that case, he could still squander his wealth freely. He glanced at the employee's badge. The staff member was from the water spirit world, and his cultivation level was at the 7th level of the Tribulation Transcendence realm. Qianhu explained that working here allowed one to earn Heavenly Dao points. Moreover, the time spent working in Heavenly Dao City did not count against one's lifespan. Qianhu was deeply frustrated. A mighty Tribulation Transcendence realm expert, working as a lowly bank clerk. If others found out, they would laugh themselves to death. But Yifeng stabbed him in the heart again. "Aren't you wasting your time here? Don't you need to cultivate? Don't you have a sect position? Don't you have disciples to teach? And is spirit gold really that hard to obtain?" In the Heavenly Dao battlefield, a series of pressure-filled questions left Qianhu, the Tribulation Transcendence realm expert, silent. In the next moment, He politely told Yifeng that if he wasn't there to conduct business, he could leave. He had professional ethics and wouldn't waste time chatting with idle people. Seeing Qian, whose gesture of dismissal, Yifeng knew it was time to show off.